Gameranx presents 10 real-life moments when video games saved lives. Yes, it turns out that after all these years and all that hate towards video games, they're actually the savior of us all. So let's get started with number 10. A few years ago, a 10-year-old saved himself and his grandmother's life when she fell unconscious while driving. I'd say that was a surprise, but it's not. Seriously, why are we still giving old people driver's licenses? It's okay, none of them are watching this video, so... Okay, whatever. Anyway, back to the story. So Grandma fell unconscious, the vehicle sped up, veered into oncoming traffic, and the boy became a hero. Instead of letting Jesus take the wheel, he grabbed the wheel, steered, and guided the car safely into a muddy old ditch on the side of the road. Of course, the car did still technically crash into a ditch, but the boy avoided a bunch of collateral damage and maybe even their own death. The kid was considered a hero and paraded by the local news. And when asked about how he knew to steer the car into safety, he credited his driving skills to playing Mario Kart. Yes, apparently practice at Mario Kart saved lives. I'd like to assume that since Mario Kart is basically the simplest form of driving you can get, it gave this 10-year-old vague knowledge of rules of the road and how to correctly steer a vehicle. At number 9, we have a wild moose attack and World of Warcraft. Yes, Hans Jorgen Olsen, a 12-year-old Norwegian boy, actually saved himself and his sister from a moose attack after walking home via a shortcut through the woods. The shortcut through the woods proved to be a mistake as the boy and girl were confronted by a giant moose. It was a bit of a standoff and the moose was angry, but Hans knew the first thing he had to do was taunt and provoke the animal. Yes, Hans basically used the taunt move to save his sister. He managed the aggro of the moose and took the attention away from his sister onto him to save her. Thankfully, the sister was able to run away alone to safety. Taunting, of course, for those of you who don't know, is a classic move in WoW, used towards bigger enemies when playing as a team to manage focus on one character at a time. Once the moose started going after poor Hans, he used even more World of Warcraft knowledge, including a level 30 trick like feigning death. The boy dropped down, played dead, and the moose lost interest and walked away. And that was it. Day saved. But hey, he got home safely. And he lived to tell the tale, and when asked about it, he credited his World of Warcraft skills. He learned the techniques he used to save himself and his sister from WoW. At number 8, we have a little bit of a different story. According to a study, playing 40 hours of action-heavy video games actually improved the sight of younger gamers. Yes, apparently just 10 hours of gaming for 4 weeks dramatically improved the vision of young men and women who, as babies, were almost blind. After 40 hours of gaming, these subjects were able to read an extra line on the eye test chart. The people tested were between ages 19 and 31, and the games they played were typically first-person shooters, and some of the subjects saw improvement in vision in just 10 hours. Professor Daphne Maurer, who spearheaded the experiment, has been quoted for saying video games have a lot going for them in terms of being an optimal visual therapy. Apparently, action-heavy, chaotic games where you constantly use all your senses are a much better trainer of eyesight than, say, Flappy Bird or Tetris or something like that. So look, while number 8 here isn't technically saving lives, maybe video games improving people's vision give them a chance at having maybe their lives saved. If you played a bunch of video games and your eyesight's better, maybe you can see that oncoming car and dodge it more quickly. I don't know, maybe I'm stretching a little bit, but this is still a cool story and we wanted to share it. At number 7, we have the story of a Dota 2 Twitch streamer who got robbed at gunpoint while streaming. Yes, apparently during a live stream, Dota player whose name I can't pronounce properly, Saha Dene, had her webcam on while live streaming Dota 2 and everything and heard a knock at her door. So she got up for a second to go check it, and minutes later she could be seen at the edge of her screen being held up by gunpoint. Thankfully, the people that were playing with her online and the people who were watching the stream all acted very quickly to contact the local Arizona police. Apparently, the person that originally made the call was in Europe, and then they called someone in the United States who then called the local Arizona police department. It all worked out very smoothly and was like a giant online video game version of the telephone game. But thankfully, it ended in someone's life being saved because the police showed up very quickly and managed to apprehend one of the suspects, thankfully. So if you're ever planning on robbing somebody, make sure you do some recon first and make sure that they're not some big famous Twitch streamer. Because chances are you could walk into a live stream and have the entire forces of the internet against you. Because if you know anything about the internet, you know that they work quickly and efficiently when they don't like someone. At number 6, we have a similar story, though this one is involving Call of Duty Black Ops 2. In 2014, 2 men apparently broke into an Australian man's home and proceeded to tie up all the residents to chairs while they went around stealing all their stuff. Money, laptops, cell phones, video games. But what the 2 stupid robbers didn't know was that the man whose house they robbed was currently involved in an Xbox Live game at Black Ops 2. It's a good thing in 2014 people still played a lot of Black Ops 2. But apparently other players in the Black Ops match were able to hear what was going on through the mic. So thankfully the player on the other end was able to contact the authorities who showed up and was able to catch one of the robbers. The other robber is apparently still at large and is probably an asshole, so if you live in Australia, definitely keep your eyes peeled. I just love the fact that in the heat of the moment, criminals are too stupid to look over and see a TV on and go, oh shit, hello, this is an Xbox Live game, or, hello, this is being live streamed right now. At number 5, we have another scientific study, this one being one that can definitely lead towards video games saving lives. Apparently, researchers found that stroke patients who played video games on either a Wii or a PlayStation were up to 5 times more likely to show improvements in arm motor function, compared to patients who were just undergoing the regular standard physical therapy. The reason for this is pretty obvious. You know, most people know that playing video games does actually provide physical and mental stimulation. You're using your eyes, your motor functions, and your brain to react quickly and manipulate things on screen. You know, playing video games is a little more involving than it seems. Apparently, according to the study, is that another reason, unlike, just doing stretch exercises and basic stuff in a lab, actions in video games are always changing. This requires a player to always change their mindset, what they're doing with their fingers, what they're doing with their brain, how they're thinking, how they're looking at the screen, and that all contributes to a patient's brain by augmenting their neuroplasticity, which is something I don't exactly totally know what it is, but it sounds like that is a good thing. The games cited in a study that were the most helpful were games like Wii Sports, when you're playing a bunch of different minigames that all require you to use your body and your hands completely differently. Also, apparently PlayStation Move games were used, which was hilarious because I forgot about PlayStation Move already. At number 4, do you guys remember that crazy semi-truck accident in Canada that went viral in 2011? This was from a dashboard cam where a giant truck in oncoming traffic accidentally just turned and hurtled through a barrier, and it was insane and it looked like something out of a movie, and it was shared everywhere. In a phone interview with local news, apparently the driver said everything seemed to slow down, and I thought of all those years playing video games as a kid paid off. So this all goes back to what we've been talking about, video games improving your instincts and your reaction time. Of course, I've never had a giant swerving truck about to crash into me, but I can recall driving on a desolate woodsy road once or twice and swerving out of the way of a deer standing in the middle of the road at the last second, and I think I can totally back up what this driver was saying. And at number 3, we have a Canadian teenager who made a friend over Xbox Live. Unfortunately, this kid on the other end of the internet was showing serious signs of depression to the point of hinting at suicide. This became apparent to the teenager during gameplay sessions over Xbox Live. The teen had no idea who the other kid was, or where he lived, or anything other than just his gamer tag and maybe his first name. But that didn't stop him from trying to do the right thing after hearing this kid had some serious problems. He got in contact with the police. They were able to communicate with him over Xbox Live chat, and thankfully talk him down from his thoughts of committing suicide. And here's the craziest part. When the police did get in touch with the suicidal kid's parents, who lived way far away from the other kid in Canada, in Texas, the parents said they had no idea there was a problem. Can you believe that? It took a 14-year-old gamer from Canada who lived 1,500 miles away to see the signs. And they were just casual Xbox Live friends. Sometimes you really pour everything into your hobby, even traits or personalities or issues you've been hiding in your normal life. And in this case, it was suicide and depression, but thankfully somebody heard in time and was able to save this kid's life. At number 2, we got a story of a bunch of badass gamers. There's a gaming cafe in Hawaii that had a bunch of fans and local kids that visited all the time and basically lived there, playing all their games with their friends. 2 punk-ass criminals tried to come in and disrupt that. 2 masked criminals busted in, punched the owner of the place at the front desk, and started smashing computer monitors and attempting to steal other stuff. Then the shit really hit the fan when one of the criminals tried to take a player's 3DS. He didn't want to give it up, and he fought back. He immediately started swinging, took one of them down, and another gamer was able to pin down and hold down one of the other criminals for the police to arrive. It was an all-out brawl and it got pretty intense and kinda awesome. One of the players who threw the first punch was quoted as saying, "We're gamers, you know? We've been immersed in that culture where all we want to do is be Superman, you know? We're missing something partial in the brain that says, yeah, this might be dangerous." And that is definitely apparent because this guy went for it with a pretty damn good right hook. He riled the customers up to fight back and they scared the criminals out of the store. The police thankfully were able to catch them pretty soon after. And at number 1, we have a real strong possibility of video games saving lives, as video games could apparently serve as an early detector of Alzheimer's. The biggest believer in this is the pharmaceutical megacorp that's absolutely huge, Pfizer Incorporated. They're apparently working with a video game design company to test whether games can detect cognitive differences in healthy elderly people who are at risk of dementia. Pfizer believes that they can make a game to detect the earliest signs of Alzheimer's, as well as other degenerative diseases. They think this game could also be used to track the progression of the disease and measure how effective treatments can be. And thankfully, if these games can detect early onset Alzheimer's, like with any illness, the earlier it's detected and treated, the better. And the better the chance somebody has at recovering. The game developed to accomplish this is playable on iPhones and iPads and is called Project Evo. The game requires medical patients to steer around a track while shooting road signs. It's pretty easy to play, it requires a bunch of simple taps, it's gotta be easier for old people. But it's designed to measure and improve the ability of patients to deal with distractions. And this ability to deal with distractions impact their ability to pay attention, plan, and make decisions. All aspects of the brain that are most affected by Alzheimer's disease. The coolest part is that maybe video games can change that. Maybe video games can be the tool to help doctors figure this stuff out. Video games affect our brains so much on a daily basis, and there's no reason why they can't help us as well. So guys, those were 10 examples of video games saving real lives. Video games are awesome. I know you guys, myself, and millions of other people out there engage with them every day, so it's really cool to hear of them giving back in a way. Whether it's improving reflexes to save a life, picking up survival skills from certain gameplay aspects, or serving as advancements in medical technology, video games are freaking awesome. And I'd like to to think that they're only making the world better. But most importantly, I want to hear from you guys what you think about these stories. Have you ever had any situations where you thought a video game has improved something in your life? Have you ever had a life and death situation where you've had to react and you think video game skills are the only way that really helped you? Definitely let us know in the comments. We want to hear about it because I had a story to share. I know a lot of you guys do as well. And if you did have a good time with this video, maybe click the like button because that really helps us out. It's almost like giving us a tip. And if you are new, subscribing is the best thing you can do because we put out videos every single day. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.